Before you slice up another raw onion for your salad or sandwich, you need to hear this. While onions are often praised as a health food, especially for their heart and immune benefits, there are hidden risks you probably haven't heard about. Risks that are especially important for older adults. What if that crunchy bite you love is quietly affecting your digestion, your medication effectiveness, or even your risk of infection? In this video, we'll dive deep into what every senior needs to know about eating raw onions. When they're helpful, when they're harmful, and what science says about it all. Stick with us, because this might just change the way you look at your plate forever. The hidden dangers of raw onions for seniors. When most people think of raw onions, they think of strong flavors, tear-inducing slicing sessions, and a reputation for being a natural health booster. Indeed, onions are often touted as rich sources of antioxidants, especially quercetin and sulfur-containing compounds, which are believed to reduce inflammation and support cardiovascular health. However, what's rarely discussed is that the very same compounds that make onions healthy for some can be problematic for others, particularly seniors. As we age, our digestive systems become more sensitive. The stomach produces less acid, the gut lining becomes more fragile, and the balance of gut bacteria can shift. Raw onions, which contain high amounts of fructans, a type of fermentable fiber, are known to cause bloating, gas, and intestinal distress, even in younger adults. In seniors, this effect can be amplified and prolonged, especially for those dealing with conditions like IBS or GERD. Fructans ferment in the gut, producing excess gas and drawing water into the intestines, often leading to uncomfortable bloating and diarrhea. For those already struggling with appetite or nutrient absorption, this can further reduce their interest in food and weaken their nutritional status. Another key concern is that raw onions contain certain natural chemicals that can interact with medications. Sulfur compounds and flavonoids, particularly quercetin, can inhibit enzymes in the liver responsible for metabolizing drugs, specifically those involved in the cytochrome P450 pathway. For seniors taking statins, blood thinners, or medications for high blood pressure and diabetes, this interference could either enhance or reduce the effectiveness of their prescriptions. That means a raw onion in your salad isn't just a flavor booster. It could be altering the way your body processes life-saving medications. This becomes especially risky when onions are consumed frequently and in large quantities, which can happen when someone relies heavily on raw vegetables for quick and easy meals. Moreover, the potential for bacterial contamination in raw onions is higher than many assume. Onions grow underground and are often handled extensively post-harvest. If not properly cleaned and stored, they can harbor harmful bacteria such as E. coli or Salmonella. While these may not pose a significant risk to healthy younger individuals, older adults with weakened immune systems are at much higher risk of developing severe infections. According to the CDC, there have been multiple documented outbreaks of foodborne illness linked to raw onions in the past decade. For seniors, even a mild bout of food poisoning can result in hospitalizations or exacerbate underlying chronic conditions. It's also worth considering how the body's tolerance to sulfur changes with age. The pungent sulfur compounds in onions, responsible for their smell and some of their health benefits, can irritate the digestive tract and exacerbate symptoms of acid reflux. Many older adults already suffer from GERD or heartburn, and consuming raw onions may intensify their symptoms significantly. One study published in the American Journal of Gastroenterology found that participants who ate raw onions experienced significantly more frequent and severe reflux episodes compared to those who didn't. For seniors who may be dealing with reflux-related sleep disturbances, avoiding raw onions might contribute to better rest and overall well-being. Finally, there's the issue of nutrient absorption. Certain compounds in raw onions, especially when consumed in large amounts, may interfere with the absorption of minerals like iron and zinc, nutrients that seniors already struggle to get enough of due to age-related changes in digestion and appetite. Over time, these small interferences can add up, contributing to deficiencies that impact immune health, wound healing, and energy levels. This isn't to say that onions are bad across the board. Far from it. But for older adults, the decision to eat them raw should be made with awareness and moderation. Cooking onions helps reduce their fructan content and softens their sulfur compounds, making them easier on the stomach and less likely to interfere with medications. The goal isn't to eliminate onions from your diet altogether, but to think twice before eating them raw, especially if you're dealing with digestive sensitivities, taking multiple medications, or have a history of foodborne illness. In the coming sections, we'll explore safer alternatives, preparation tips, and the conditions under which raw onions may still have a place on your plate. How raw onions affect gut health and digestion in older adults. The digestive system undergoes significant changes as we age, and one of the organs most affected by time is the gut. Seniors often face a decline in digestive enzyme production, reduced stomach acid, slower gut motility, and changes in the gut microbiome. When raw onions enter this altered environment, the outcome can be problematic. At the heart of the issue is the type of carbohydrate found in onions, fructooligosaccharides, or more broadly, fructans. These fermentable fibers are part of a group of short-chain carbs known as FODMAPs, which are notorious for causing bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort in people with sensitive digestive systems. In healthy individuals, these fibers may offer prebiotic benefits by feeding beneficial bacteria. However, in seniors with compromised gut health, fructans can trigger unwanted fermentation that leads to painful bloating, flatulence, and cramping. Older adults are particularly vulnerable to these effects because their intestinal lining becomes thinner and more permeable with age. This permeability, often referred to as leaky gut in layman's terms, means that inflammatory compounds produced by bacterial fermentation can more easily pass into the bloodstream, contributing to systemic inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is already a concern for seniors, often implicated in the progression of diseases such as arthritis, Alzheimer's, and cardiovascular issues. Eating foods that exacerbate gut inflammation, like raw onions, can silently worsen these conditions over time. Even for those who haven't been diagnosed with a specific digestive disorder, symptoms like excessive gas, irregular bowel movements, or a constantly bloated stomach can severely impact quality of life. One of the less obvious but equally important concerns is the relationship between gut health and mental wellness. Emerging research in the field of the gut-brain axis suggests that an unhealthy gut can influence cognitive decline, mood disorders, and even the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Seniors are already at elevated risk for conditions such as depression and dementia. When a food like raw onion triggers gut irritation or microbial imbalance, it can potentially contribute to a feedback loop of physical discomfort and emotional strain. Some studies have shown that disturbances in gut flora caused by poorly tolerated foods may impact the production of serotonin, a neurotransmitter largely made in the gut that regulates mood, sleep, and appetite. In this light, that innocent slice of raw onion on a sandwich might have more far-reaching consequences than anyone realizes. Complicating matters further is that many seniors use medications that already impact gut health, NSAIDs, proton pump inhibitors, and certain antibiotics being chief among them. These drugs can erode the protective lining of the stomach or reduce stomach acid, which is essential for breaking down tough fibers like those in raw onions. When stomach acid is insufficient, large food particles pass into the intestines undigested, leading to fermentation, gas buildup, and nutrient malabsorption. This creates a cascade effect where senior may experience indigestion, followed by fatigue, followed by decreased appetite, spiraling into nutrient deficiencies or unintended weight loss, both of which are serious concerns in aging populations. Another point to consider is how individual tolerance varies. While some seniors may experience no noticeable digestive issues from raw onions, others may react to even small quantities. The severity of the response often depends on the presence of coexisting conditions such as diverticulitis, ulcerative colitis, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO. In these cases, raw onions act almost like a trigger food, causing a sudden flare-up that might require medical intervention. Unlike other vegetables that can be tolerated raw or cooked without much difference, onions become significantly more digestible when cooked. The heat breaks down some of the complex sugars and softens the fibrous walls, making them less likely to ferment in the gut. Roasting, sautéing, or boiling onions can reduce their FODMAP content and make them safer for seniors to enjoy without the digestive backlash. From a practical standpoint, seniors can protect their gut health by practicing onion moderation and preparation awareness. If you're unsure whether onions are causing your discomfort, try eliminating them from your raw food intake for a couple of weeks and see if symptoms improve. Reintroduce them gradually, starting with small portions of cooked onions. Keep a food diary to track responses, not just in terms of digestion but also in mood, sleep, and overall energy. You may be surprised by how interconnected these systems are. Additionally, consulting a dietitian who specializes in geriatric nutrition or gastrointestinal health can offer personalized guidance, especially if you're on medications that affect gut function or have a history of GI issues. Ultimately, the digestive challenges that come with aging don't have to mean sacrificing flavor or nutrition. By understanding the way raw onions interact with the aging gut, seniors can make smarter dietary decisions that support long-term wellness. The goal isn't to eliminate onions altogether but to respect the complexity of the senior digestive system and adjust accordingly. As we'll see in the next section, there are plenty of ways to enjoy the benefits of onions without the downsides, if you know how to prepare and pair them wisely. Medication interactions and how raw onions can disrupt treatment in seniors. As we age, the number of medications we rely on tends to increase. It's not uncommon for seniors to manage multiple prescriptions daily, for conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, and more. But what many older adults don't realize is that what they eat, especially seemingly harmless additions like raw onions, can significantly alter the way these medications work. Raw onions contain a variety of bioactive compounds, including quercetin, allicin, and sulfur-based molecules that can influence liver enzymes responsible for metabolizing drugs. This interference isn't just theoretical. It's backed by pharmacological studies that show quercetin, for instance, can inhibit the CYP3A4 enzyme, a key player in the cytochrome P450 family that processes over 50% of all prescription medications. When raw onions interfere with drug metabolism, the effects can go in two dangerous directions. On one hand, inhibition of these enzymes may cause a drug to remain in the bloodstream longer than intended, intensifying its effects and increasing the risk of side effects or toxicity. This is particularly concerning for medications like warfarin, a blood thinner, certain statins, for cholesterol control, and calcium channel blockers, used for high blood pressure, where even small dosing variances can have major health implications. On the other hand, raw onions might speed up the metabolism of other drugs by stimulating alternate enzymes, leading to reduced efficacy. This creates a silent but dangerous tug-of-war in the body, where food is unintentionally undermining treatment protocols designed to keep you alive and stable. This isn't just a fringe concern, it's one backed by clinical insights. A 2016 study published in the Journal of Food and Drug Analysis revealed that quercetin-rich foods could significantly alter plasma concentrations of key medications, including beta blockers and antiarrhythmics. For seniors managing cardiovascular health, that could mean reduced protection against heart attacks or strokes. Worse still, these interactions are rarely flagged by doctors or pharmacists unless a patient brings up their exact dietary habits. Since onions are considered a vegetable and not a supplement or over-the-counter remedy, many patients don't think to mention them during medical consultations. Yet a few slices of raw onion in a daily salad could subtly but consistently interfere with the effectiveness of life-saving drugs. Another layer of risk comes from sulfur compounds in raw onions. These compounds can affect the stomach lining and the absorption rate of medications that require a certain pH level to dissolve properly. For example, certain extended-release tablets are designed to activate in specific parts of the gastrointestinal tract. If raw onions irritate the stomach or change gastric acidity levels, either by increasing acid production or slowing gastric emptying, it could affect when and how these medications are absorbed. This isn't just an issue for a small group of drugs either. Acid-sensitive medications like levothyroxine, for thyroid disorders, bisphosphonates, for osteoporosis, and certain antibiotics all require precise conditions to be effective. For seniors already coping with variable absorption due to age-related digestive changes, raw onions may quietly introduce more variability into an already delicate balance. The importance of consistency in medication timing and dietary habits cannot be overstated in geriatric care. Even healthy, natural foods can disrupt that consistency when consumed without awareness. This is why geriatric nutritionists emphasize maintaining stable routines, not just in medication administration but also in meal planning. If a senior normally eats cooked meals and suddenly begins consuming raw onion-rich salads regularly, they might begin to experience unexplained dizziness, fatigue, or changes in blood pressure or glucose levels. These symptoms may not immediately be traced back to onions, leading to unnecessary medication changes or dosage increases when the real culprit is dietary interference. There's also a concern for over-the-counter medications and herbal supplements. Raw onions contain natural anti-inflammatory and anti-clotting properties. When consumed in combination with NSAIDs like ibuprofen, or supplements such as ginkgo biloba or fish oil, the cumulative effect could increase the risk of gastrointestinal bleeding or easy bruising, an especially serious issue for seniors with thin skin or frail blood vessels. This is a perfect example of how a so-called superfood can become problematic when it overlaps with other well-intentioned health strategies. The irony is that the very individuals who are most likely to incorporate raw onions into their diets for supposed health benefits, like immune support or heart protection, are often the ones most vulnerable to the negative consequences of those very choices. The solution isn't necessarily to avoid onions entirely, but to understand when and how they can be consumed safely. Cooking onions helps denature many of the bioactive compounds that cause interactions, especially quercetin and the more volatile sulfur compounds. Boiling, steaming, or sautéing onions not only reduces their FODMAP content for gut comfort but also minimizes their ability to interfere with liver enzymes. If you're taking medications that rely heavily on the CYP450 system or have strict absorption guidelines, it's wise to discuss your raw vegetable intake with your healthcare provider. They can provide personalized guidance based on your unique prescription list and health profile. Seniors often have to navigate a complex landscape of medications, and every food choice matters more than it might for someone younger. Raw onions are a prime example of how something so simple and common can carry hidden consequences when layered onto the realities of aging physiology and medical treatment. Through awareness, consistent dietary practices, and open conversations with healthcare professionals, seniors can enjoy the benefits of a diverse diet without putting their health at risk. Raw onions and their role in immune function, help or hindrance for seniors. When it comes to boosting the immune system, raw onions are often hailed as a natural powerhouse. They contain antioxidants like quercetin, selenium, and various sulfur-containing compounds believed to enhance the body's ability to fight infections. For younger, healthy individuals, this immune-boosting reputation may hold merit. However, in seniors, where the immune system becomes increasingly fragile due to a process known as immunosenescence, the situation becomes more complex. While it's true that raw onions do possess anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties, the assumption that they are always beneficial for the immune system, especially in raw form, is an oversimplification that can sometimes mislead older adults into overconsumption. One of the most critical issues in immune health for seniors is balance. The immune system must be active enough to defend against pathogens, but not so reactive that it triggers autoimmune responses or chronic inflammation. This equilibrium becomes harder to maintain with age, and unfortunately, raw onions may disrupt rather than support that balance in some cases. The sulfur compounds in raw onions stimulate the production of glutathione, a potent antioxidant that supports immune function. However, this same stimulation can also enhance inflammatory markers in individuals with autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus, both of which are more prevalent in older populations. For those individuals, eating raw onions could inadvertently worsen their symptoms under the guise of supporting immunity. Additionally, many seniors experience a form of chronic, low-grade inflammation known as inflammaging, which is linked to a range of age-related diseases including Alzheimer's, atherosclerosis, and type 2 diabetes. In this context, the idea of introducing raw onions, a food known to activate the production of certain inflammatory compounds in the digestive tract, warrants caution. While cooking tends to reduce these inflammatory triggers, consuming onions raw may fuel this underlying inflammation, compounding health problems over time rather than alleviating them. Studies show that while the antibacterial properties of raw onions are real, they may also alter the microbiota in a way that favors certain bacteria over others, leading to an imbalance that undermines gut and immune health. It's also important to consider how the immune system interacts with foodborne bacteria. Raw onions, due to the way they're harvested, stored, and often consumed without cooking, can harbor bacteria like E. coli or Salmonella. While these pathogens may be relatively harmless or produce only mild symptoms in young, healthy individuals, they can trigger severe reactions in seniors whose immune defenses are weakened. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has repeatedly linked raw onions to outbreaks of foodborne illness, many of which disproportionately affect older adults. This is not just a matter of discomfort, it can lead to hospitalization, antibiotic use, and in some cases, long-term complications like post-infectious IBS or kidney issues. In trying to boost their immune system with raw onions, seniors may ironically be exposing themselves to dangerous microbes their bodies are less equipped to fight. Nutritional synergy is another factor often overlooked. Immune function in seniors is most effectively supported by a combination of nutrients working together, vitamins A, C, D, zinc, and probiotics among them. Relying too heavily on one food, especially a reactive one like raw onion, may not provide the holistic support needed. Moreover, raw onions are low in calories and high in water and fiber, which means they can create a false sense of fullness. For seniors already struggling with reduced appetite or unintended weight loss, this satiety effect can decrease their intake of other essential nutrients needed to maintain immune function. Over time, undernourishment can set in, undermining both physical resilience and recovery capacity. For those who still wish to harness the immune benefits of onions without the risks, cooking is once again the recommended path. Lightly sautéed or roasted onions retain many of their beneficial flavonoids while greatly reducing their harsh impact on the digestive and immune systems. Combining cooked onions with other immune-supportive foods like garlic, mushrooms, leafy greens, and fermented vegetables can offer a broader range of protective compounds without overstimulating or irritating the gut. It's also worth remembering that diversity in the diet is more important than the overuse of any single superfood. The most resilient immune systems are built over time through consistent intake of a wide variety of nutrient-dense foods, not by fixating on one supposed miracle ingredient. Seniors can also support their immune health through lifestyle practices that work synergistically with nutrition. Getting sufficient sleep, managing stress, staying hydrated, and engaging in moderate physical activity all enhance the body's ability to fight infections and recover from illness. In this context, raw onions can be part of a larger wellness plan, but they shouldn't be seen as a quick fix or used in ways that ignore the specific vulnerabilities that come with aging. When embraced thoughtfully and in moderation, they may still play a small supporting role. But the blind assumption that raw equals better could lead to digestive upset, inflammatory flare-ups, or immune disturbances that do more harm than good. Safe preparation methods. How to make onions easier on the aging body. For seniors who enjoy the flavor of onions and wish to continue incorporating them into their meals, the key lies not in total avoidance but in careful preparation. The way onions are handled, stored, and cooked can make a substantial difference in how the body reacts to them. For an aging digestive system that's more prone to inflammation, reflux, and sensitivity to fermentable compounds, preparation methods become a health strategy, not just a culinary choice. When it comes to raw onions, many of the problematic compounds, like fructans and sulfurous gases, are at their most potent. But proper preparation can reduce these effects dramatically and turn onions from a potential irritant into a safe and flavorful addition to a balanced senior diet. One of the simplest and most effective techniques to reduce the harshness of raw onions is soaking them. After slicing or chopping, placing raw onions in cold water for 10 to 15 minutes can help leach out some of the sulfur compounds responsible for their strong taste and digestive irritation. This can reduce their pungency, making them more tolerable for those with sensitive stomachs. Soaking also reduces the sting of quercetin's bitter edge, which, while beneficial in moderation, can be abrasive in larger amounts. Alternatively, soaking onions in a mild acid like vinegar or lemon juice creates a pickling effect, preserving some of their crunch and flavor while making them gentler on the digestive tract. This quick pickle method not only tones down the intensity of the onion's natural chemicals but can also introduce beneficial probiotics into the mix when done properly, offering gut-friendly bonuses. Cooking, however, remains the most reliable method for rendering onions safe and soothing for older adults. Heat breaks down the complex carbohydrates like fructans and mellows the reactive sulfur compounds. Sautéing onions in olive oil, for example, does more than just add flavor to a dish. It alters the chemical structure of the onion itself, reducing the likelihood of fermentation in the gut and making it easier to digest. Slow cooking, such as caramelizing onions over low heat for an extended period, not only softens the texture but also enhances the natural sweetness, reducing the sharpness that can trigger acid reflux or mouth irritation. Roasting onions in the oven or adding them to stews and soups allows them to blend into a meal in a way that supports digestion rather than challenging it. Another consideration is the type of onion being used. Not all onions are created equal when it comes to digestion. Red onions tend to be higher in antioxidants but also stronger in flavor, which can be irritating to sensitive systems. Yellow and white onions are more commonly used for cooking, and their flavor becomes significantly milder with heat. Sweet onions, such as Vidalias, have lower sulfur content and are naturally less intense, making them a gentler option for seniors, especially when eaten raw or lightly cooked. Shallots, which are closely related to onions but have a milder, sweeter taste, are another excellent alternative for those seeking flavor without the digestive consequences. Portion size is also critical. Seniors may tolerate a small amount of raw or lightly cooked onion in a dish, but issues tend to arise when the volume is too high. A whole onion on a sandwich or in a salad might overwhelm the digestive system, while a few thin slices incorporated into a larger, fiber-balanced meal may not cause any trouble. Pairing onions with other digestive-friendly foods, such as yogurt, ginger, or cooked vegetables, can also buffer their effects. These combinations can moderate the digestive process, prevent gas buildup, and create a more harmonious meal for sensitive stomachs. Proper storage also plays a surprisingly important role. Once cut, onions begin to oxidize and break down, increasing the risk of bacterial contamination if they are not stored correctly. Seniors should be advised to always refrigerate sliced onions in an airtight container and to use them within a day or two. Leaving raw onions exposed in the fridge can lead to mold or bacterial buildup, which may not be obvious to the eye but can cause foodborne illness, especially in individuals with compromised immune systems. Washing onions thoroughly before slicing and using clean cutting boards reserved for vegetables can further reduce the risk of contamination. For seniors taking multiple medications or managing chronic conditions, it's wise to test tolerance to onions gradually. Begin by adding small amounts of cooked onion to familiar meals and monitor for any symptoms such as bloating, reflux, or changes in bowel patterns. If none occur, portions can be slightly increased. Keeping a food diary can help track these changes over time, revealing patterns that can guide future dietary decisions. Working with a nutritionist who specializes in senior health is also an excellent way to tailor onion intake to individual needs, ensuring safety while preserving enjoyment of flavor and variety. The ultimate goal of modifying how onions are prepared isn't to demonize them, but to demystify the way our bodies respond to them over time. By learning how to soak, cook, pare, and portion onions appropriately, seniors can continue to enjoy this widely used vegetable without suffering from the hidden consequences that often go unrecognized. Through simple kitchen adjustments, what once posed a digestive dilemma can become a delightful and healthy part of a senior's culinary toolkit. Better alternatives, nutritious swaps for raw onions that still support senior health. For those who love the crunch, flavor, or perceived health benefits of raw onions but struggle with their side effects, the good news is that there are plenty of alternatives that offer similar health-boosting compounds without the digestive distress or medication interference. Replacing raw onions in your diet doesn't mean compromising on taste or nutrition. It means making thoughtful substitutions that align better with the needs of an aging body. Seniors require foods that are gentle on the stomach, compatible with medications, and rich in nutrients that support bone strength, cognitive clarity, cardiovascular health, and immune resilience. Fortunately, there are several vegetables, herbs, and flavor enhancers that meet these criteria and can even elevate the nutritional quality of a meal more than raw onions ever could. One excellent swap is cooked garlic, which shares many of the same sulfur-based compounds as onions but with a gentler profile when prepared correctly. Garlic is well known for its heart-healthy properties, including its ability to reduce blood pressure, support cholesterol balance, and fight inflammation. While raw garlic can also be intense, lightly roasting or sautéing it neutralizes the harsh components while preserving the allicin and other healthful phytochemicals. It's easier on the stomach, especially in moderate quantities, and pairs beautifully with a wide range of dishes, from soups to salads to sauces. For seniors worried about onion-triggered bloating or reflux, cooked garlic offers a safer, flavorful alternative that still contributes to vascular and immune health. Another smart option is fennel. This aromatic vegetable has a mild, licorice-like flavor and a crunchy texture that makes it a fantastic substitute in salads or slaws. What makes fennel particularly senior-friendly is its unique compound, anethol, which has been shown to reduce inflammation and act as a natural antispasmodic, helping to relax the digestive tract and reduce gas and cramping. Fennel is also rich in fiber and vitamin C, both of which are essential for digestion and immune support. Unlike raw onions, fennel rarely causes intestinal distress, and its naturally soothing effects can help calm an irritated gut. Thinly sliced raw fennel bulb in a salad offers the same fresh bite as onions but without the harsh after-effects. Chives and green onions, also known as scallions, are milder members of the allium family and can often be tolerated better than traditional raw onions. Chives in particular have a softer taste and a far lower content of the problematic compounds found in their stronger cousins. They provide small amounts of vitamin K and folate, both important for seniors, especially those managing cardiovascular or bone health. While not entirely free of fructans, the lower quantities in chives mean they are less likely to cause bloating or interfere with digestion. A sprinkle of chopped chives on an omelette or blended into a yogurt-based dressing can deliver a familiar onion-like flavor without the risk of stomach upset or medication conflicts. For seniors seeking immune-supportive ingredients with a peppery kick, radishes can be a great alternative. They are low in fermentable fibers, high in hydration, and contain antioxidant compounds like catechin and pyrogallol that contribute to detoxification and metabolic health. Radishes can be enjoyed raw in small amounts without the lingering aftertaste or intense sulfur effects of onions. In addition, their crunchy texture adds interest to meals, making them a versatile stand-in in sandwiches, dips, and side dishes. Celery is another underappreciated ingredient that can substitute well for raw onion in recipes requiring a similar crunch. Celery is extremely low in calories, high in water content, and contains apigenin, a plant compound shown to support brain function and reduce inflammation. Unlike onions, celery is not known to interfere with medications and is unlikely to cause gas or bloating when eaten raw. For seniors looking to maintain hydration, support kidney health, and add variety to meals, celery can play an important role. From a culinary perspective, flavor layering is key. Rather than relying on a single ingredient like raw onion for a dish's bite, seniors can experiment with combining gentler aromatics such as leeks, shallots, when cooked, ginger, or even finely chopped herbs like parsley and cilantro. These additions can enhance flavor complexity without overwhelming the digestive system. Herbs in particular offer powerful health benefits. Cilantro helps with detoxification, parsley provides vitamin K and iron, and mint supports digestion. By building flavor with a combination of these elements, meals can remain satisfying and delicious while also promoting wellness. Lastly, fermented foods provide another unique avenue for replacing raw onions. Fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, kimchi, onion-free versions, and pickled carrots offer both tang and texture. Plus they supply beneficial probiotics that can strengthen gut health, a key factor in immune function and nutrient absorption for seniors. While strong-flavored, fermented foods tend to be more digestible due to the breakdown of their natural sugars during the fermentation process. They also support a healthy gut microbiome, which is crucial for seniors looking to maintain overall vitality and protect against disease. In the end, substituting raw onions isn't about deprivation, it's about evolution. Seniors can enjoy rich, savory meals that protect their health, honor their medications, and support long-term wellness by exploring and embracing a wider array of ingredients. The key is to stay informed, listen to your body, and approach every meal with both curiosity and caution. By making simple but smart swaps, older adults can reclaim the joys of eating without the digestive drama or hidden dangers that raw onions too often bring to the table.